Amilita presents Castle. Season 1, Episode 2. Amilita's castle, which is the metaphor of her childhood memories and some she can remember. Each room in the castle holds its own type of memories from Amilita's early years of being a youngster. Room 1. Born. Amilita was born in a medical hospital. Although Amilita never remembered that, she did remember what she first saw when she first opened her eyes. She was in a room, which was her room later on, with the light off and the door open, showing the yellow hallway light break into the room. She also saw an open closet with human ornaments on the top. Amilita learned to walk around the age of 1. Room 2. Watching TV. Amilita used to watch TV shows back then. Some of them were kids' television. Amilita mostly watched comedy shows at the time. Amilita mostly watches shows that are located in a real-world setting than animated cartoons. Amilita even remembers her very first show she watched. Amilita's Guardians doesn't mind what she watch or how much TV she watches. Amilita also watches live streams television back then. Room 3. Moving. When Amilita was 6 years old when she and her guardians moved to another house in a different location that was in the same city as their previous house. Between the days they decided to move and moved into their new house. They were getting ready and the Hayus was a mess while trying to get everything ready and packed up in the moving truck and get going. As Amilita's guardians were trying to get things moving along, Amilita stayed at her grandparents' house. Weeks went by and it was finally time to move as the owners of the house Amilita was gonna live in were all going to her previous house. The new house Amilita and her guardians live in now has the same number of bedrooms, except has different areas and extra rooms. For over years, Amilita and her guardians gotten used to it. Room 4. Amilita's castle. When it was Amilita's 3rd birthday, her guardians bought her a toy castle that Amilita liked. Although Amilita doesn't want dolls, which she doesn't like, she does like to use the toy castle of her own. The toy castle was one of the main things part of Amilita's early childhood and she thought it was unique. Amilita liked using little spoons as characters instead of Barbie dolls or action figures. In fact, Amilita uses boxes as different rooms instead of a Barbie house. Room 5. Early school days. Amilita remembers her first day of kindergarten school. Doing good and well without any trouble. Amilita always tried to stay as everything is fine for her. During her early school days, she was always criticized by her teachers and her classmates for being introverted and not being social, and always focusing on herself. She would sit by herself during school. In the bus, during recess, during lunch, during class, and other activities and other groups. While Amilita never made any friends from her school years, she likes to have time on her own and just reading. Room 6. Nightmares. Amilita doesn't like having to be scared and doesn't usually watch a lot of horror movies, but she always had them when she was young. Back then, Amilita had terrifying dreams of some creepy monsters she saw, and one time, she had an awful nightmare where she couldn't wake up and was unconscious and couldn't scream for help. Although the spooky monsters Amilita had in her nightmares were visible to her in her dreams, she wasn't touched by any of them. Not only she had nightmares of monsters, but stuff that was horrifying from a horror movie. She was also having nightmarish visions of ghosts and ugly scenes of scaring in her nightmares as well as darkness. Room 7. Dreams. Aside from nightmares Amilita has as a kid, she had dreams of good stuff. Everything Amilita usually sees is what she sees in her next dream, even if it's the very first time she saw it. Amilita had this dream gather to kill of her nightmares. Amilita thought it was useless back then, but it did give her good dreams. Amilita would have dreams that she couldn't explain. Room 8. Birthdays. Amilita is not really of a birthday person, as she is not into it. Amelia's guardians doesn't buy or make decorations for her birthdays. Amelia's guardians are the only ones who celebrate Amelia's birthday. Amelia would mostly get books, sketches, clothes, and items she needs as presents. Amelia's guardians don't really celebrate her birthday, they just give her presents as a nice gift. No days. Amelia doesn't feel the need to hold up a birthday party, since she thinks she has nothing to be worried or offended by, which has something to do with a birthday party celebrating with kids. Room 9. Going to church. Amelia used to go to a children's house during her youth years in church. The following cycle of Amelia going to church goes like this. Amelia learns at her children's church class, learning about then's activities, and then all of the kids including her will go out for playtime for the rest of the church day. Amelia was always bored during playtime, so it was mostly like a waiting room for her. After playtime, her guardians would come get her and go home. Nowadays, the church cycle is different from when she was young. Room 10. Halloween. Amelia was always terrified about Halloween night during her younger years. First off, she would mostly wear costumes like a princess, or some female character from any TV show or a movie. Amelia and her guardians would drive their car and trick or treat to any houses that was far from, but near their neighborhood. Amelia always stays quiet when meeting someone's house, and was always backing away from creepy decorations. Some Halloween decorations she have seen back then made her feel disgusted and unsettling, but that doesn't mean she hates Halloween, though. Room 11. Thanksgiving. Amelia, her guardians, and her relatives would have Thanksgiving dinner. They would pray before eating regularly. Back then, Amelia would mostly eat salad, some mashed potatoes, and broccoli. She didn't seem alright about eating the turkey, though. During Thanksgiving, the adults would talk and chat with each other while Amelia would sit there in silence until she decides to go to her room and do her own thing or sleep. Room 12. Christmas. Christmas was one of Amelia's most memorable childhood. Although there was never lots of full Christmas decorations, she and her family gave gifts to each other. Amelia would get the same stuff she gets for her birthday. Clothes, books, sketches, and other stuff. Every Christmas, Amelia would always have Christmas dinner with her guardians and her relatives. Amelia would watch some Christmas movies and wouldn't be bothered for it being a long time for like 1 hour. She would also sit and watch Close the Fire as she was interested in. She would use the stuff and play with the toys she got for Christmas during the same day. Amelia would walk in the snow during Christmas and look around at the snow falling from the sky. Amelia would sometimes go to Christmas parties with children and adults, and have time together. Amelia would drive with her guardians to see Christmas lights around houses and their decorations at night during December. Room 13. Literature. Amelia has always been into books and likes to read them. She reads books about history, past famous people, and entertainment. Amelia knows books does not contain any hidden witchcraft, or at least most of them, even if just it has some things hidden in them. The type of books she likes are about history and famous known people from the early 1900s. Amelia would usually get some children's books from the library. Room 14. Going to grandparents. Whatever Amelia's guardians go out for their dinner, they'll leave Amelia with her grandparents. Back then, Amelia was never used to the way their house looked and didn't know what to do with it. Every time she's with her grandparents, she'll read a book at their living room, then eat food, and then decides to go sleep. Amelia likes going outside solely, but her grandparents live in a senior neighborhood where its houses' backyards are too skinny to have so much room. Amelia and her grandparents would usually go out to any place to eat and have fun to kill some time. Room 15. Playdate. Amelia was sometimes brought to this class that was actually some family's home, and Amelia would have a playdate with other kids she didn't really knew. Amelia hated the kids there, because some were mean to her, immature to her, and didn't understand her. Amilita was glad to be taken out of there after a long while for about a few years. During playdate, Amilita and the other kids would stay at playdate to spend the night. They would eat, play, watch TV or a movie, and go to sleep. Adults would sometimes wake kids up in the middle of the night to eat something they want. Amilita and the kids once went on a field trip. Although their RV was not ready yet, Amilita hated the playdates. Room 16. School field trip. Amilita was once on a 5th grade field trip along with other kids to go to an amusement park. Amilita wanted to have her own seat all to herself. Lucky for her, she had her own. It took a long ride to the amusement park, like 1 or 2.5 hours. When they first got there, they waited in line for a while to get the kids and make sure everyone's there. They all went to any activities they wanted to do. Amilita went to some average activity and to another. Amilita was with some adult named Mrs. Miklas. Amilita hated to be with any student. Amilita went to play some golf, went to get drinks, played games, win some prizes, and do other stuff. After the field trip, Amilita and the other kids got onto the bus and went back to school and go home. Room 17. Drawing. Amilita always have sketches as a gift. She likes to draw on them. Amilita isn't the kind of person who just draws random stuff. She would draw lots of stuff she wants on it, like stick figures, houses, clouds, food, cars, and all other stuff she would put in one page. She doesn't usually color drawings, but colors some of them. Amilita likes to be creative and put more effects on it. Amilita wouldn't be bothered if her drawings didn't have much effort. She is fine of what she draws and tires to think of any different thing she can think of from mind. Amilita would sometimes trace with some objects, sometimes to make a perfect item. Room 18. Music. Back then, Amilita is always busy and doing her own thing. So to keep her motivated, she listens to music, only music like instrumentals instead of lyrics. Amilita does not give a single damn what anyone says, she likes music no matter what, and never focusing on other people's opinions. Amilita sometimes listen to music with soft lyrics in them. She always use her radio or cassette to play music to keep her focus in what she's doing. Amilita doesn't know what else can keep her motivated instead of music, or pretty much anything. Room 19. Random encounters. Amilita had kids encounter her a long time ago, but then it somehow fell apart, which Amilita was alright with. One time, Amilita had a girl that hung out with her from the 5th grade, but Amilita then went to middle school, so she couldn't stay at elementary school a lot longer. Another time, some random kid went up to Amilita to say if they wanna be friends. Needless to say, they never saw each other again ever since. Once, Amilita was encountered by this boy at school, and they had fun together up until the boy had a problem, and was taken out from her old school. Amilita had so many people that came up to her that it was impossible to list them all. But other than that, she has no friends. Room 20. Appointment. Amilita has always had a few injuries, but didn't really hurt much. Amilita also has heart attack problems whenever she is shocked. She also gets heart attacks at the random moments of the day. She always get taken to the doctors to get a shot. Amilita was also having problems with her left leg getting broken. Amilita was always taken to the doctor each year. One time, she had to be taken out of school for height check and refusing to do anything social. Amilita's guardians are not the type of people who keeps pushing someone to get going on their potentials. And that's it for Amilita's earliest memories. The end.